Today I'm going to show you a video that is so idiotic and inspiring all at the same time, and one that shows self-control beyond any understanding. And look, no matter if you are somebody that believes in concealed carry or you're somebody that is adamantly against it, everybody should watch this video because it can happen to any one of us. Now, what makes this really interesting is I thought I was showing you all the original video, which had no audio, which I thought was weird because it was shot on a cell phone, but whatever. Well, when I was gathering clips for the video after it was edited, I was like, oh, well, here's the original video. So you're going to be able to see a lot of my guesstimations before I find that original video, and then I'll fill you in and we'll kind of talk about where I was wrong, where I was right, was I way off base, or maybe I wasn't. And of course, I want to hear your opinion, man. No matter if you agree or disagree with mine, let me know what you think down below after the video. If you like what I do, consider subscribing. Let's go and get into it. So this video is making its rounds on X, and it comes to us from Only in Palm Beach TV. They also have a X account and Instagram, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. So we're talking about Florida. Now, the first thing I want you to know is when we see the two vehicles here, we have the Mercedes in the front. The guy gets out of the Mercedes. He has a firearm. Now, it's clear that they're in the middle of a subdivision. So either they pulled out at the same exact time, they live in the same subdivision, which is even worse, or they both pulled into a subdivision to have a little chat, or maybe they're both coming home from work. I don't know what happened before this. Unfortunately, we don't have all of the context, but I don't even really think it's gonna matter too much, to be honest with you. It may play a little role, but I don't think it's going to affect the overall theme of this video. So we're down in Florida. The guy gets out. He has a gun in hand. Now remember, Florida is the very first state that passed stand your ground laws back in 2005. Stand your ground says that anywhere, not only in your home, not only in your car, but anywhere you have the right to legally be, you can use force, up to deadly force, to protect yourself against somebody else that is an imminent danger to you. If you are in fear of your life, you can use deadly force to essentially eliminate them. And that applies not only for people in your family, but it also applies for complete strangers. If you see somebody getting attacked, they're in a position where they're going to potentially get hurt or worse, you can intervene and use deadly force there as well. So keep that in mind when you watch the rest of the video. We see the guy in the pink shirt walk up, gun in hand, and then he starts trying to grab the camera out of the guy's hand, right? He's filming because he sees this confrontation. I guess as soon as he threw it in park in front of him, he's like, all right, let me go ahead and film this. The guy in the pink shirt reaches in once, reaches in twice, and several times is telling him to get out of the vehicle. Unfortunately, there's no audio to go along with this. But then the camera kind of points downwards for a second, and we see that the driver has his pistol out of the holster ready to go. And this completely changes the dynamic of the video right here. Your first emotions, or my first emotions when the guy's walking up to the vehicle with a gun in hand, are like, well, first of all, why isn't this guy trying to drive around him and get away? I'm not sure if that ever crossed his mind. But his first thought is to pick up a camera and record. Now, I've seen this comment over and over and over, and it's so true. Just because you have a camera in your hand doesn't make you bulletproof, and it doesn't mean that you cannot be a victim of a crime. I just want to go ahead and throw that out there. And I'm wondering, why is this guy, first of all, not driving away? Second of all, he seems super confident, right? Well, 20 seconds in, we realize why he's so confident, because his gun is right there. Now, I do want to say that it looks to me like both guys actually have proper trigger control. They have their finger on the outside of the trigger guard, pointed up. Neither one of them has their finger in the trigger guard. That, of course, is going to heighten this situation and make it even more potentially deadly. Now, at this moment, the guy that is recording has every right, from what we see in the video, he has every right to use deadly force right then and there. Not only is the guy in the pink shirt walking up to him with a firearm, but then he reaches inside of his vehicle, tries to grab his phone away, or potentially trying to grab him and drag him out of the vehicle. And remember, this guy that's in the truck, I know I talked about him driving away. He has no duty to retreat. He's in a place he can rightfully be. We're assuming that he's in his own neighborhood, right? Now that could change things potentially, right? If he followed this guy into the neighborhood, well, maybe now we're talking about a little bit different story, but we just don't know. Let's assume he has the right to be there, though. That means that he doesn't have to drive away. But you also cannot be the aggressor in a self-defense situation either, and the guy in the truck is not the aggressor. It is clear that the guy in the Mercedes is the aggressor. So how would a court of law actually view this situation? It might be a little bit of a gray area if we're going to play devil's advocate and say, okay, the guy in the truck doesn't live there. He followed the Mercedes into his neighborhood, but the guy in the Mercedes is actually the aggressor. There's a lot going on here. And of course, there's a lot we don't know. So after a little bit of a struggle, both guys still have pistols in hand. The guy in the pink shirt decides that he's going to just kind of drive on, walks back to his car, and pulls away. And that is where the video ends. So the first thing that I want to say is the guy in the truck that was recording has incredible self-control, right? I don't know, man. I almost venture to say that, 8 times out of 10, the guy in the pink shirt probably would have been his last time driving that Mercedes around. Because when somebody is walking up to you with a firearm in hand, there really is no other implication, right? It's kind of like a baseball bat, right? That can be dangerous, right? But if I'm in a vehicle, I can get away from that guy. A gun, somebody can shoot through the glass and kill you, right? So when he saw that firearm, when he saw that guy get out of that vehicle with the firearm and start approaching him right then and there, I think, and again, we're just making assumptions that that guy did not follow him into a different neighborhood. We're assuming that he lives in that neighborhood with this guy. But as soon as that guy in the Mercedes walks up to him with the gun in the hand, I think at that point he could have used deadly force. But then he waits, and the guy in the pink shirt tries to grab him and rip him out of the vehicle. He still doesn't use deadly force. It almost makes me think that these guys have gotten into it before, and this was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. Because there's just so much anger built up between these two guys, and they're still in the neighborhood, right? It's almost like this little feud that's gone on, and the guy in the truck ultimately either believes in his ability to be able to draw his gun quicker if he feels he needs to do that, or he just almost knows this guy. Hey, I know he's not going to do anything. I know he's just flexing at this point, and I'm not looking to hurt or eliminate this dude. Okay, so now that we have the original, let me show you how it played out here.
Should I shoot him?
Bro! Bro! Go!
I'm telling you right now. You pull that shit. You were the one that started it. Hey, man. I'm telling you right now. Give me the phone. Get the
Bro,
phone.
Get
out of the car now. Pull that shit out of the car.
Who the are you, bro?
You're out of the
Harry, you're getting arrested. You know this, right?
So, much different story. Now, Mr. Mercedes man was the aggressor. He actually ended up following the victims, the couple, into their neighborhood. So apparently he was brake checking them over and over and over. They eventually got around him. They pulled into their neighborhood. Well, Mr. Mercedes man decided to follow them up and then whip around them to cut them off. And then, of course, draw his gun and walk up to them. Now we hear the driver say something interesting here. He's like, should I shoot him? He's like questioning, what do I do here? He probably thinks in his head, this is going to be justified. But is this guy serious? Is it really going to go down this road over some road rage? It's just an assumption based on what I hear and kind of the uncertainty, right? And most of the time in a self-defense situation, at least what we see or what we hear, what we read about, is you don't have this much time to kind of plan it out. But fortunately, this is just a great example that can show what self-control looks like. You know, I don't know if there was any diffusing this situation. Mr. Mercedes man, Mr. Pink Shirt was obviously pretty pissed off. He's trying to grab the phone. He's trying to grab the arm of you know, the woman, or, you know, dude's wife in the car. So there's a lot going on here. And so it's not like he was talked down. She just says, hey, you realize you're going to jail, and he walked back to his car and pulled off. Now, my recommendation is, you know, if Mr. Mercedes man made bail, I think it was $105,000 is what his bail was actually set at. He should send the victims, I don't know, maybe get them a steak dinner, probably send them something on Christmas, probably even send them something on their birthdays, maybe even for their anniversary, because the self-control that the driver displayed here is the only reason Mr. Mercedes man is even alive today. And so he should be very thankful to them. I think this is an incredible display of not only self-control beyond any understanding at all, but also how quickly these things can escalate. The driver in this case just was very confident, knowing that he was able to protect himself and his wife in that moment. And so that's what I hope you all will walk away from, is knowing that having that firearm ready, at the ready, be able to, you know, have that option, no matter if you're a man or a woman, is so important, man. Because again, these things can happen in the blink of an eye, and so those seconds are so precious. This one right here is really wild, man, but I'm so glad I saw it, and it made its rounds on X so I could share it with y'all. Now, of course, you could totally disagree with me in this, and I want to hear your opinion, no matter what it is. Leave it down below. If you like what I do, consider subscribing. See you on the next one, and as always, hold 'em down.